The theme of today's conference meeting is from Revelation 21, reminding us that we are awaiting a new heaven and a new earth, and that God is making all things new. And that's true in our conference also. You're going to be hearing about the process for searching for a new conference minister in a little while. But we are privileged here today to have a good friend and someone who doesn't seem like an interim conference minister to us, but who has served faithfully and well as our interim conference minister. And it's my honor and privilege to introduce today for his interim conference minister's report, the Reverend Chuck Wildman.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator and delegates. A privilege to be here for the third time in this place. I'm working on tenure. We do give thanks for this amazing conference, and it's been my privilege to serve you for these 2.5 years. As your interim conference minister, and I am here for the third, and I fully anticipate the last of these appearances before you in this role, in any case. I may come back as a friend once in a while. I suppose that's a relief to many of you, and we do all keep praying for the conference search committee, minister search committee, that they do their work and do it well, and that this year we will have the great joy of being able to welcome a new called conference minister. You'll hear more about that later, as Tim has said. Our ministries to the congregations of Connecticut and through them to the entire church are enabled by an exceptional staff. Please join me in celebrating these special people as they appear on the big screen and marvel with me at what these dedicated servants of the church accomplish. Will the staff please rise where you are and remain standing, and we will applaud you and give you all due honors as this procedure goes on. So watch the screen, please, and see all of these people who are in front of us. Over 30 of us. In addition, please permit me to make a special mention of Regional Minister Enika Mitchell. I'm going to embarrass her as she is leaving her post with us after quite a few years and going back to local church ministry as the interim senior minister of the United Congregational Church of Tolland. Enika will be with us to the end of the year, and a search is already underway to find the next another interim regional minister to join our ranks to take on Enika's responsibilities. Enika, we thank you in advance for all of your important and wonderful service, and we look forward to honoring you more on December 12 as First Congregational Church, West Hartford, for a service of worship that evening to celebrate your ministry with us. Where are you, Enika? I'm missing you. There you are, over there. Enika did not ask our permission to leave us, and so we have to talk to her about that. Sue Furness retired October 1 after 30 years as conference registrar, profile assistant, and assistant to the interim associate conference minister for clergy concerns. And we are very, very pleased to welcome her successor. Just started last Monday. What a week to start. We're getting ready for annual meeting. That's drinking from 2 fire hoses. We are very pleased to celebrate Sue Willis, who is with us for her first annual meeting. Please give her a round of applause. She's right here. It takes many, many people to make this conference and all conferences and all ministries happen. It's essentially, the conference is the backstage of the church. Without what goes on backstage, what happens out front can't happen at all. And so all of these people here are here to be helpful to you and the congregations. For you are our sole client, I say in business terms. The conference exists as a creation of the congregations to serve the congregations and to link the congregations with the wider United Church of Christ and the wider world. And we give thanks for this strong conference that works at that goal every single day. Go big, embrace God's plan. Since last fall's annual meeting, the conference has attempted to do just that. In words we have shamelessly borrowed from the national church, thank you. We have many highlights to share, some now and some in other ways, about what we've been doing this past year, and then some things to look forward to as we move forward. And the burden of doing this kind of an address is that there's no way to cover adequately what we really should be talking about the life of our local churches and about all that we are doing at the conference level and through us at the national church level to empower and strengthen the local church. But we will make an effort to raise some highlights in this way. We've been working for maximum visibility this year and maximum relation building and ministry in and with the churches, with the lay and pastoral leaders. Most Sundays and many weekdays and nights, we, your staff, are in the churches preaching and teaching and meeting with lay leaders and attempting to partner with them to help them be the strongest and the most effective outpost of Christ's mission that they can possibly be. Always we remind the congregations about the resources the conference has to offer, and also through the conference, the resources that are available to the wider church, through our national setting of the United Church of Christ as well, and through other resources too. We always remind the pastors and churches that the conference is the creation of the congregation, and it is our mission to serve faithfully and as strongly as possible to enable the local churches to do the same. Mission does come home, and there's an interesting trend that we all have noted in one way or another, and we're concerned about this, working on it, feeling challenged by it. In the 21st century, arguably more congregational resources are supporting Christ's mission than ever before. The mission field has changed. More mission is local, next door, down the street, downtown, under the overpass, at the soup kitchen, in the homeless shelter. Missions frequently initiated by the local church. Our churches give an impressive amount of human and financial support to these missions. This is cause for celebration. However, this shift has meant that fewer financial resources are available to support our church's wider mission, OCWM, the principal funding support for the conference and the national church. Over the years, OCWM remittances to the conference have dropped steadily for the last 20 years. They are exactly half today what they were 20 years ago. Today we are addressing this issue by acting on a proposal from the Board of Directors, fully and duly considered for quite some time, to move to a 50-50 program. 50% of OCWM Basic received by the conference would support the mission of our conference, and 50% would support, with other contributions, the work of the national and global settings. At the present time, we retain 37% in Connecticut and send on 63% to the national church. This change would be a vital, if perhaps lamentable, step toward short-term financial stability for this conference. We also are continuing our discussion on how to educate clergy and lay leaders about the 21st century mission of OCWM, as most seem unaware, uninformed, or unsupportive of this part of our covenant obligation to one another. We've done some tightening up this year. Another resource-driven move that we made in the past year is to reduce the regions from 5 to 4 and the regional ministers from 5 to 4. This has saved us about $100,000, and it's another step toward financial sustainability. With this move and the OCWM change, if voted later today, we would achieve a balanced budget with a little left over for 2013, the first time that our basic core budget, the Missionary Society of Connecticut budget, has been balanced in quite a while. But we are too short on support staff, and the need to think beyond tightening moves us also to ponder how we can handle new needs in the future. We hope to generate some new funds through education and other means. Silver Lake is a fabulous ministry of our church. You'll hear more about it later. It thrives. It's a gem of the UCC, and that what we've realized, we must look beyond the fund, the last campaign fund income, and seek new revenue, new support from internal and external sources. This is a major property and program that affects nearly 1,200 young people, plus countless adults throughout the year. It literally changes lives. You'll see Tim and Ann present more on that later today. The maintenance and development of facilities requires significant ongoing funding. Maintaining and always being able to attract high quality, the highest quality staff is a constant need. Our children and youth deserve nothing less. Many conferences are selling their camps. This will not be something that this conference should and will ever entertain. One of the goals that has been a personal priority for your conference president and myself is to constantly educate the board of directors and strengthen them so that they can be wise and sage leaders. I think those words mean the same thing, don't they? As we move forward in the life of our conference. The board is now equipped to offer informed counsel and make the wise decisions it needs to make. A second priority of the board, equally important in my view, is to build a closer relationship between the staff and the board itself. And wonderful things have been done to help that process along the way this year. I want to thank our president especially for that tremendous effort and all that she has done this year. This is a hard-working leader that we have. Give Sarah a round of applause. She also can sing really, really well. One of the great goals that has been in the minds of many in this conference for many years, some say decades, has been the abolition of the death penalty in Connecticut. A large number of our pastors and lay people have worked tirelessly for this goal. This movement was supported by conference annual meeting resolutions for quite a while. In 2005, when Michael Ross was put to death, conference advocates increased efforts by challenging the Board of Prisons at our state's Supreme Court. Throughout the long campaign, our government relations liaison, Kim Harrison, gave professional energy and guidance to that effort. Kim, where are you? Stand up. Thank you. Thank you. It couldn't have happened without you, Kim. Thank you very much. We also recognize the tremendous energy and leadership given by our former conference minister, Davida Foy Crabtree, for all that she did in that effort as well. You owe her a deep letter of thanks. Another emphasis that has started several years ago, before I arrived certainly, was Sacred Conversations on Race. You'll hear much more about this from Day McAllister a little later today. But following the beginning of this program some years ago, recent heartfelt discussions in the conference with staff and lay people centered on activating this program. Again, clearly racism hasn't gone away and will never do so, we have learned. And you'll hear much more later today about this very, very significant effort, and thank you today for your good leadership. I want to say that to you in advance. Environmental ministries have been much in our minds, and 9 congregations were recognized this year as either level 1 or 2 green churches at the May annual meeting, bringing the total number of green churches in the conference to 15. Connecticut continues to be a model for the denomination in this effort. Environmental Ministries team members held 2 half-day workshops for local church green teams and those interested in the environment this past year. More are coming. There's a partnership growing in New England in this effort, and the New England Region Environmental Ministries group is working hard. This group is going to offer a climate revival event in Boston on April 27, featuring, among other things, video participation by Bill McKibben and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. You will all be invited, so stay tuned for announcements about that in the near future. So we look ahead. Some brick and mortar questions are before us. The future of Sherman Street, the facility of the conference office. Beyond repair or refurbishment, our conference office building, our 3-story building in Hartford. How many of you have been to the conference office? Raise your hands. Well, that's a pretty good group. I'm glad to see that. I'm glad you haven't all come at once. We wouldn't have been able to hold you. This facility, as you know, is the prime meeting space for staff, boards, and committees, other than our wonderful facilities at Silver Lake. It's served well, but it's getting tired. There are 3 levels of offices for 15 staffers who work there, workrooms, archives, and more, yet the facility has no elevator and only 1 accessible bathroom. Mechanicals are in need of major replacement. Bill Fairburn, CEO of New Samaritan Corporation, has agreed to chair a small committee of the Board of Directors to work to provide a cost-benefit analysis of our options regarding the Sherman Street office. And following on that, we also need new technology, and a small staff committee under Eric Anderson, our Associate Conference Minister for Communications, has been struggling with this issue. And we have no standard database for the entire conference, and what we have is awkward and outdated. And the staff is handicapped in all aspects of its work. It may be that this issue cannot wait for a new conference minister to solve. We have increased regional cooperation underway, and that's very exciting, as I've been in frequent contact with my colleague to the north, Dr. Jim Antel, Conference Minister of the Massachusetts Conference. And we've been pondering regional sharing of technology and some staff in the future. We feel that maybe a southern New England model is possible, where we have cooperation among the 3 conferences, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. Get you on my water. Wonderful dreams are being developed for our boards and staffs to consider, and there could be many material and non-material benefits for all concerned as we work more closely together. Stay tuned for these. Within our United Church of Christ, we do not stand alone. The conference is related centrally to the life of the church. We are in covenant with, 1.2 million members and 37 other conferences, just as each church, while locally autonomous, is in covenant with the national setting and all other conferences, with other churches in the conference. All of us are in covenant with the national setting. This relationship enables us to support one another in prayer and with tangible resources. And we depend on one another more than most people realize or understand. So, for example, if OCWM proves no longer to be a successful way to fund national and global ministries, we must find another. That's why Dr. Ben Guest is with us today. Through Ben, we will gain a broader knowledge of the entire covenant community of which we are a part, and celebrate with this significant current generation leader of our church. Ben, you'll get a proper introduction a little later, but we are very glad to have you here. Raise your hand. The promise of a new conference minister brings hope, anticipation, and renewed interest in the ministry and potential of the conference. So we dare not squander this latter part of interim time, but harness its positive energy for dreaming out of the box. One example of such new thinking is given to us in the search committee interview summary that is now part of the profile for the new conference minister. And the piece of wisdom comes from somebody who's become not only a colleague, but a good friend. He's one of the Episcopal bishops in Connecticut, Ian Douglas. And he's an active ecumenical partner who serves with some of the rest of us in ecumenical matters in the state of Connecticut. He was interviewed by somebody from the search committee on about what should a new conference minister look like? What characteristics are essential? And Bishop Douglas said the following. I've quoted it before. I will quote it again because to me it's vital. He said, a new conference minister and valuable ecumenical partner should be someone who is curious about God, what God is up to in the world, and therefore continually asks, what kind of church does God need? What kind of church does God need? Amen? Consider how this one sentence completely upends our traditional thinking. What would it mean? What would it mean if this became the usual question instead of the ones we often seem to ask? In one phrase, we would renounce consumer theology. We go to something like a stop and shop of ideas for churches and conferences, searching the shelves for the items that we think will best serve our needs and put them in our cart. Beautiful music, amazing preaching, something to help us with youth ministry. Instead, we would bow before our still speaking God and seek God's desires for what we are to be as Christ's church in the conference setting. What kind of church does God need? Now that's going big. That's embracing God's plan in a bold way. That's courage. It requires a lot of faith and getting past all of our assumptions and moving truly into 21st century thinking. Thank you once more for the privilege of serving you in this interim time. May God guide and bless the conference and all of our churches to serve imaginatively and faithfully in the exciting days ahead, these exciting days of mission and ministry in the name of the one in whose will and way and light we gather. Amen.
Well, if this is indeed things happen in threes in churches. This is the final of the Holy Trinity of Chuck Wildman's conference meetings. I would like to ask us all to thank him for his devoted and dedicated service to this conference.